Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Wynwood Buddhist Temple's virtual Dharma service. As usual, we'll begin the service with chanting of the Vandana and Tisarana, followed by recitation, the Golden Chain of Love, which is found on page 126 of the Red Service book. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato sammasambuddhassa. Homage to him, the exalted one, the enlightened one, the supremely awakened one. Buddham saranam gacchami, Dhammam saranam gacchami, Sangham saranam gacchami. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butts, Namanda Butts, Namanda Butts. I am a link in Amida Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weaker than myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in Amida's golden chain of love be bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butts, Namanda Butts. Namanda, 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 Namanda. Namo Amida Butts. I recite Amida's name with deep joy and gratitude. I gasho to Amida, trees and grasses and flowers all grow in great compassion. This light shines throughout the world. I gasho to Amida. Flowers bloom and flowers fall. From the seed sprout new flowers. This is the truth unchanging. I gasho to Amida. Springtime brings the happy birds. Their songs all praise Amida. I join them in Nembutsu. I gasho to Amida. When I I call Amida's name, it's Amida calling me. Buddha's voice, my voice are one. When I'm lonely, I recite Namo Amida Butsu. Then I feel great compassion. I gasho to Amida, Nembutsu in work and play, every day with Amida, every moment filled with light. I gasho to Amida, remember the golden chain, kindness to all living things. I will follow this teaching. I gasho to Amida in the clear bright morning sun, in the fading light of day, in the darkness of the night. I gasho to Amida, Namo Amida Butsu. I live in great compassion. This great power guides my life. I gasho to Amida. Well, good morning once again, everyone, and welcome to the Wynwood Buddhist Temple virtual Sunday morning service. I hope you're all doing fine as we go through this pandemic that has been with us now for over 18 months. And although the end is still not in sight, we know that all things are impermanent and so will pass. So hang in there and keep safe. I saw several times in the Star Advertiser where the Christian Coalition has put out a one-page spread in support of vaccinations for all. We as Buddhists are also in full support of this as well, and do encourage everyone to get vaccinated to not only keep yourselves safe, but for others as well. Not only your family circle, but also your friends and people unknown to you as well. Friend 04, let us all be safe. Last week we had the annual Honganji Lay Convention, and I attended as a guest. It was very well planned and quite meaningful at that. So I would like to recognize Joy Nishida, who played a major part in making sure that things ran smoothly. I thoroughly enjoyed it myself. So for those of you who was not able to make it this time, I really encourage you to do so next year. Well, let's join me and put our hands together in reverence as I read the words of Shinran Shonin. The Buddha taught selflessness as one of the three basic teachings. It is our mistaken ego, selfishness, that causes all human troubles and sufferings. We do not realize that we are literally able to live and enjoy life only because of other people and things. If one really understands this truth, one cannot help but become humble and appreciate others. Buddhism is a way of selflessness. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Well, this morning's service is in recognition of Peace Day, and we will once again be ringing the temple bells throughout the state of Hawaii. Well, we were looking forward to our annual walk through Kailua town with our paper cranes in observance of Peace Day, but, along with our brethren from the Christian churches here in Kailua. But sadly, we have to once again postpone it for another time. Hopefully, things will be back to normal by Peace Day next year, 2022. Let us remember that though we wish for peace in the world, it is only through our individual and collective efforts that peace can be achieved. As a people, we need to reflect on the inequalities among us, to remember that all human beings are equal and that protecting the right of all is of paramount importance. Inequities such as human trafficking, exploitation of labor, social injustices in the area of gender and other issues, and in the suffering of all who live in poverty or are homeless, are issues that are of vast importance whenever we reflect on the meaning of peace. We think of peace, especially now with the pandemic still heavy upon us. So let us remind ourselves that peace begins in our hearts, in our interactions with friends and foe alike. A wish for peace is also a working for peace. For peace does not come from a wish alone, but with the realization that we all must take part and be a part of this process. Peace occurs when we realize that taking care of ourselves also means taking care of others as we wish well-being and health to each other. Many people in the Honganji have been gearing up for the Peace Day activities that are coming up on Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. As you may know, Peace Day was inaugurated in Hawaii at the urging of the YBA on the state legislature. On April 18, 2007, Governor Linda Lingle signed the House Bill 345 into law as Act 23, establishing Peace Day to be observed on the September 21 of each year, the purpose of which is to promote peace programs, improving international relations, and increasing educational awareness of peace throughout the state of Hawaii. Hawaii is the first state in the Union to officially recognize the United Nations International Day of Peace that is now being celebrated in more than over 200 countries throughout the world. Annually, the town of Honoka'a on the Big Island hosted the premier Peace Day event in the state of Hawaii, the only event of its kind in the world, with a parade and festivals demonstrating unity and support of peace, compassion, and awareness of interdependence. In the past, hundreds of participants from over 30 groups have performed or exhibited in this unique parade, which is described as a moving stage. And the festival concluded with entertainment and over 40 vendors and exhibitors. There were student peace poster contests where students and teachers from around the globe, they were urged to express their own interpretation of the year's peace poster theme. Inspiration for this piece day had been brought about by the story of Sadako Sasaki, a young girl who lived in Hiroshima when the atomic bomb was dropped in 1945. Years later, she developed leukemia as a result of the exposure to this radiation. Inspired by the Japanese legend that one's wish will be granted upon folding 1,000 paper cranes, Sadako set out to fold 1,000 of those paper cranes after a visit to the hospital by her best friend, Chizuko Hamamoto. Chizuko cut a golden piece of paper into a square to fold it into a paper crane. She folded 677 of those cranes before passing away at the age of 12. Most of the cranes were buried with Sadako, but her family kept 5 of them. The family of Sadako Sasaki has graciously gifted one of those paper cranes to the National Park Service to be permanently exhibited at the World War II Valor in the Pacific Memorial at Pearl Harbor. So in accepting this gift, the National Park Service and Pacific Historical Parks have made a commitment to preserve and to publicly display Sadako's delicate paper crane for visitors to the World War II Valor in the Pacific. In addition to the custom-designed display case, the exhibit will include a graphic panel to share Sadako's story, the significance of the original crane, and her hope for peace. Sadako's brother, Masahiro Sasaki, made a personal visit here and in Honoka'a as well, and brought the paper crane with him for the permanent exhibit in Pearl Harbor at the USS Arizona Memorial. Her brother said that he hoped the donated crane will serve as a first step toward spiritually reconciling the victims of Pearl Harbor and the Hibakusha who survived the Hiroshima and Nagasaki atomic bombings. In the Amida Sutra, one of the 3 principal sutras that Shinran Shonin chose in his development of the Pure Land sect, it is written in one of the verses, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but I'd like to repeat it again. Sariputra, in that land there are always many kinds of wondrous, rare and beautiful birds of various colors, such as the white geese, peacocks, parrots, sarikas, kalavinkas, and jivam jivakas. You've heard this story, I know. In this story, in the Amida Sutra, it is about the strange bird, the jivam jivaka, and in Japanese it is read as Gumyo Shicho. This bird lives in the Pure Land and has 2 heads with human faces and 2 minds that share one body. It sings with such a beautiful voice, a voice that no one has ever heard before. It is said that at one time there existed one especially beautiful Jivam Jivaka bird with beautiful feathers and a beautiful voice. After a while, both heads began to think that they were the best in the world, that they were number one, and that if only there were only one head, there will no doubt be as to which head was the number one in the world. They envied and they hated each other day after day. One day, one head came up with an idea. He mixed poison in another's food to poison him. Of course, he soon died. However, since they both shared one body, the poison traveled to the other head, and soon they both died. After this event took place, it is said that in the Pure Land, Jivam Jivaka sings the following song: "The way to destroy others is the way to destroy myself. Respecting and supporting others is the only way to live in peace." But don't we often think How can I become happier than others? But oftentimes, by thinking of our own happiness, we very often bring unhappiness to others as well. And this way, are we pushing our unhappiness onto others unconsciously? Not only in the global world does this occur, but even in our own daily lives. The story of the Jivam Jivaka is not just a good story to listen to, but it is a story that is telling us to reflect on our own lives and our own selves. We may not live our lives as extremely as the Jivam Jivaka birds. However, we must be aware of our own self-centered mind. Jivam Jivaka shows us the state of as we are in daily life. In Buddhism, we often use the term compassion, or jihi in Japanese. The word jihi is constructed by two Chinese characters. Ji is read as Maitri, which means friendship. It means love of no distinctions and no expectation in return. Ji also means mercy, compassion, or perfect love, directing others to live in peace. He is read in Sanskrit as karuna and is taken to mean any action to relieve the suffering of others. It is just crying with tears, but no words. Back in the year 604 AD, Prince Shotoku of Japan incorporated the deep insight into the true nature of the ego self into his 17-article constitution, of which Article 10 reads, "Let us cease from wrath and refrain from angry looks, nor let us be resentful when others differ from us. For all men have heart, and each heart has its own leanings." Reverend Yemyo Imamura, the first bishop of the Humpa Honganji Mission of Hawaii, was a champion of race relations and the relationship of one country to another. He wrote that all countries, socialists, communists, or capitalists, can all live together as long as we realize that we are different and let it be as such. We don't have to impose our belief systems on others, because culturally, what they have may be right for them. But then too, each country should not prohibit their members from practicing their beliefs also, as long as the principle of pratitya samutpada, or a principle of dependent origination, is held. Don't we often make quick judgments on people that we have just met? Or we have preconceived ideas that a certain type of face or looks is not what is considered to be friendly or trustworthy? No matter how hard I try not to prejudge, it always happens though. What matters is that we try to be interconnected with each other. Try to understand each other's feelings with the idea that their suffering is our suffering and their happiness is our happiness. In the golden chain of love that we just recited this morning, it is read that I would try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. We should open up our minds and realize that any tragedy is our tragedy, and that beyond the borders of races, countries, and religions, we should cry with our tears, as their suffering is our suffering. The tears thus shed naturally makes us open toward the world of oneness, which is the world of the Buddha. Through the wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha, we are made able to see things as they really are. What Prince Shotoku wrote in his constitution of 604 AD holds true even more so in this day and age. it help us and each other to make Peace Day, every hour of our lives, and not just one day out of the year. Thank you very much for listening, and you please join me by putting your hands together once again. May the wisdom of the all-compassionate one so shine within our hearts and minds that the mists of error and foolish vanity of self be dispelled. So shall we understand the changing nature of existence and reach spiritual peace. Namo Amida Butsu. The gatha for today is many but one, and this is followed by the Nembutsu. Therefore, be a lamp unto yourself. Be a refuge to yourself. Take yourself to no external refuge. Hold fast to the truth as a lamp. Hold fast to the truth as a refuge. Look not for a refuge in anyone beside yourself. Namo Amida Butsu. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending this virtual Dharma service. Hope to see you again next Sunday. Next Sunday is one of the major services in the Honganji. It is the Fall Ohigang, and we have a guest speaker. The name is Reverend Marco Sawada of the Kaneohe Higashi Honganji. So please tune in. And in the meantime, keep well. Goodbye.